All right, serious topic today. So HubSpot optimization, it's always been a question we get asked all the time. So if you're suffering with a portal that's not consistent, if you've got, if you can't find the things you're looking for, if you're struggling with leads or how to kind of manage them, then this is an episode for you, right? I just want to keep it super straight and tell you guys that's the problem we're covering today.
Could Semi get real deep with what we're talking about? It's actually a really big topic. So I'm excited to get into it with our listeners and yourself, Semi.
Yeah.
This episode is for anyone that has HubSpot and is currently really sitting there frustrated at the data, the system, the tools. It's like, what am I even looking at? What do I use? I'm paying all this money for a software that I really don't see any value in, or I know there's some value, but I don't know where to start looking and where to start unpacking. In this episode, that's what we're speaking about. And
welcome to HubSpot Mentors podcast. I'm Tasha.
And I'm Semi. And
we're so close today.
It is Friday the 13th, man. I'm like, if you're a superstitious person, maybe you can just believe that that's the case, or that it's Christmas next week. And it is like just hectic in the whole world right now. But thank you for the patience of my tongue tie. That's all right.
That's all right. Okay, cool. So I'm guessing we're just going to keep that introduction because we ain't doing it again.
We're keeping it.
All right,
let's go,
so
Semi.
let's get started. So T, I asked Breeze Copilot, not Microsoft's Copilot, how many HubSpot projects you've done, right? It gave me 108.
Ooh, yes, yeah.
Go figure, yeah. Right? So I know We've Red Pattern's been around for a long time, and that's quite interesting, right? Because obviously, all of
now
this
I can
stuff,
say hundreds.
Not all the projects you guys been working on is HubSpot stuff, right? So on that note, right? And you personally have done about 27 optimization projects till date.
Yep.
That's a big number.
Yep.
And now I've worked in about 42 portals this year.
Just this year.
Right. So I can see an adoption. That's why you guys got me as well to come into the business as well to help you and help the business and stuff and work on HubSpot projects. So I'm very excited, right? So looking back at this year, I thought it would be good to just go through that and see what are the biggest things that we noticed.
With the optimizations?
Just in general in portals and stuff, but in particular, like what is an optimization? Because people come to us with a portal and then go, hey, we need some help. And then you're like...
They're about to leave. Sometimes they come to us, Semi, and they're about to leave HubSpot. Yeah. They're like, literally, this is the last ditch attempt at trying to make this thing work. Otherwise, we're going.
Yeah.
We've had a few of those this year.
100%. Like their business is growing. They just can't find the answers they're looking for. Because a good business is the business that makes decisions based on data, not emotion, right?
Yep.
And if you can't rely on the data that you have in HubSpot, what's the point of having HubSpot?
Yeah, I don't think a lot, like I was saying before, in all seriousness, like businesses are paying a lot of money for this software and they don't have the confidence in, not the software, they know the software can do the thing, it's their data. And how does that data get in there? Well, it's, it's user error for a big part, but also just your other systems, the other things that come up, your emails to people you work with, the integrations you have. So I think the reason why we've really knuckled down with these optimization Semi is because in an economy of you've got to do more with less, which is what we're in right now, businesses are going, well, we're not going to spend more money on new marketing initiatives. We're going to double down, sales and marketing issues. They're going to double down on what they're already spending money on, which is HubSpot, sales and marketing. And we're going to find a partner that is very good at using this tool and is also sales and marketing experienced and strategic. And that combination of those kind of two key things there, Semi, is what we found this year has like killed it. And we've gotten contracts from clients that were about to leave HubSpot because they were like fed up and they've gone, oh, no, we're going to start on HubSpot now because Red Panda's kind of like saved us, if you will.
100%. Like there's so much to talk to that, but just keeping it high level with other reasons why customers come to us was because simply enough that, like you said, they want to cut down on their tech stack.
Yep.
There's too many moving parts. There's too many tools. I don't want to mention names. Active Campaign. Salesforce. Some of those ones are just too difficult to use, right? Or they cost too much money, whatever that looks like, and they ain't using the most out of it.
And you just need all these other different applications.
Yeah, it's just make this, make that, like things aren't working, things are doing this, things aren't doing that, right? Other issues like visibility issues, they sales can't, they don't know where leads are going. It's just all over the place. Anyways, it's just a shamble, right? top issues we've seen till date. Messy data.
Yep.
Simple enough, but the team don't actually know how to use it because they're
All
just
the
too
time.
busy.
All the time.
They're just too busy doing their work.
They don't see the value in HubSpot.
That's correct.
So they won't use it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why use that? I don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
It's just another software. It makes no difference to my job.
Bad setups. So like
That's why those salespeople feel that way.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they sound
right.
like shit.
They're like, what do you mean? I answered this question like 10 times. Do I need to answer it again just because I put into this new stage or whatever? You know what I mean? Like it gets, or why do I have to keep creating a new deal for this? It's just getting annoying, right? Poor reporting.
Yes.
Where can I find this stupid information from?
Yes.
Right?
And you're going to have poor reporting if your team aren't using it because you got messy data.
That's right. That's right. And integration problems. Like why doesn't this sync properly? Why can't I get this information in?
A bit more of a complicated issue.
It is
but
a complicated issue.
it's one that comes up.
But
You're
it's
right.
something that comes up, right? So why does it matter?
What?
All these issues. Like why would it matter for a business? I think it's important to understand that. Just because if it's not important for you, then this ain't a problem. Just turn off HubSpot and you're done with it, right? Problem solved.
So we're talking some business leads right now, business owners, decision makers at a business that are probably like know how much they're spending on HubSpot right now, and why all these issues that Semi and I just mentioned matter is because
there's time wasters, right? You're wasting so much time doing admin work.
That's it.
Like there's lack of automations.
Yeah.
For you to find that one report that tells you how many customers you got.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You put your hair out, right?
Yeah.
Missing deals.
This one's big.
Right.
This one's huge. The amount of business leads we speak to that are like, I don't know where this opportunity went. Like he sent a quote and then I have no idea what happened after. I'm like, because no one's tracking anything.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to? You're putting it in a post-it note.
Yeah. Well, we expect the salespeople to track things.
100%.
And as we know, salespeople are super busy with stuff anyway. We're trying to get you more jobs.
Everyone's busy.
But they then lose the deal that they were working on beforehand because they forgot, right? Frustrated teams. So why? Like teams are frustrated. Your salespeople frustrated. They voice it, but they can't get their solutions, which means poor morale for the team.
Yep. Sales
Right,
are happy to
seen that.
complain. So.
And of course, extra cost, inefficiencies and stuff, right?
That's it.
You're paying for everyone's time. You're paying for
That's it.
HubSpot. Might as well use it properly, right?
All right.
So
What's the solution, Semi?
I want to really keep this super simple.
What a forced laugh. You're like,
Especially for
There's a really good solution.
They sound like an ad, right? I'm not trying to do an ad here, right? For the solution, I just want you to take a step back and think about the moment when you were either renovating a house or redesigning a living room.
Or
right?
even just moving into a new place.
Or just moving into a new place. But I think moving is more like when you get a new CRM, you're always excited, so you just throw everything anyway. Right? So you're excited about using it.
So you're specifically... Okay, all right.
Particularly...
So I've never renovated, remodeled. I kind of hope I never have to because it sounds like a headache from what I've heard. But from a layman's point of view...
Yeah,
renovating. I don't know anything. Now you've got to remember your background, where you're from. You're quite close to this concept, right?
That's
so
right.
I'm not. I'm far from it. If I was renovating a house that I currently lived in, I feel like I would go looking for issues with the house, like with some type of inspection.
Yeah.
Find out where there's cracks or errors, or maybe where it's missing something that I might want from my own objective or brief. Then speak to someone or develop some type of plan to be like, okay, this is what I want to do. And then just roll it out.
You're way too systematic. You're too good. I wish that was the case. But let me explain what normally happens, right?
Okay.
So you would move into a place, you put your dining table where it should go, you put your couch somewhere and stuff, bits and pieces. And then let's say you're going to go from the TV room to the kitchen. As you're walking through, you bump your leg on the dining table because it's in the wrong place, right? You get a nice bruise.
Yeah, or when you hit your pinky toe. Woo.
Oh, yeah, of course, right?
Okay,
When you try to open the fridge, but then you can't take the stuff out because the fridge door is on the way, right?
Yep, like our kitchen.
Or like you're sitting in your TV, you're watching TV and someone keeps walking in front of you because it's put in front of the corridor, right?
We got the point.
So that's what I'm talking about here. It's like those little annoyances, little things. And I want to relate this back to HubSpot is because that's what happens. You feel frustrated. And then what happens is you're like, hey, let me invite 20 people to my house or host a Christmas party or Thanksgiving or whatever that looks like, right?
Yeah.
You start to invite people over.
With that dodgy placement of the fridge or dining room table,
So then
everyone's going to be hitting their foot.
So then what happens is you start freaking out over it. You're like, hey, where does everyone sit? What's going to happen with this? Should I move this room? Should I move that one? You start panicking over it. Everyone's gone through it.
It's a very good analogy, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
So then what happens is as your business grows, the same thing happens with HubSpot.
Yeah.
In the beginning, when you're alone, when you're using it, or when you've got 2 or 3 people, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But when you have HubSpot and you've got people using more of the software, you've got new staff members coming along, right? New agencies that come along, they start putting new things, adding new things and bits and pieces. So your living room no longer looks nice and clean. Contact information is missing.
Crowded AF.
It's crowded as. Contact information is missing. What else is there? You got
just data points as the business has evolved, right?
Or
and your system hasn't kept up with it.
Or you introduce a new product and you use the same pipeline to run that product with it versus you've got a sales pipeline. You know what I mean? Or you're trying to manage your renewals. And, it just becomes all over the place.
Yep.
And then you get frustrated with it and you're like, okay, I'm done with HubSpot.
And then you call vendors.
You may be in a position to be able to give up on HubSpot, but you may not be able to be in a position to give up your house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So moral of the story is you've got all this data you've been gathering for years, which is valuable. And it's just a matter of just taking a step back and applying some form of solution, right? So let's look at before we go into how we deal with these problems, right? I just want to drive home why having a CRM and a really critical, some critical questions that if you don't have it, right? Basic ones. Where are my customers coming from?
Source reporting.
Source reporting, right? How many repeat customers do I have? Which campaigns drive ROI? What bottlenecks are slowing the sales pipeline down? So these are all the critical things that if you don't get done, you're just going to get frustrated with it anyway. So I've funneled it down to those points. How do we deal with it? Here's our approach. We keep it super simple so everyone understands it. Like when you're remodeling a house or doing your living room, right? Renovating a house.
Yep.
Plan, build,
yep,
and support.
Yeah, I was along the similar lines.
Yeah, you were.
Inspect, plan, do some building. There was really no support in there.
Of course, right? So let's obviously you want to when you're planning a house, when you're planning a living room, you want to take a step back.
I think we should put inspect in here.
You can inspect it as well, but
inspect and plan.
But sure. You can name it whatever you like.
So he's like, dude, shut up, Tony.
The point is you inspect it, you do whatever you need to do, but at least you make a plan. That's correct, right? So plan your move, right? So if you don't sit down on a drawing board, you measure up your room with measurements, how are you going to figure out where things fit? Same thing with HubSpot.
You could just try and put them there and then they don't fit and you'd be like, oh, shit.
So you're going to be moving the couch 10 times before you find the right spot.
You see how our brains work a little bit differently? It's quite interesting, isn't it? Sammy's like, I'm going to be you think I'm systematic. You're more systematic. I'm just just put it there, see what happens. And then it's like, oh, that doesn't work that well. So you shouldn't do my approach. Sammy's approach is definitely much more smart.
So the point is you should plan, right?
Inspect and plan,
and some of the questions that you should ask when you're planning for your HubSpot, even optimization or even trying to think about looking at your data and how that would work is, what's your current business goals? Because if you don't know what you're optimizing for, what's the point of optimizing?
Yeah, so you could, when you say business goals, do you mean maybe some growth goals, products or services you want to grow more of, sell more of?
Exactly.
Maybe gaps in the market that you can solve. So how do those business goals obviously relate to the actual efforts that you're doing?
Are you tracking your conversion rate? Are you how many sales are you trying to achieve this year? How many products you got going on? How many salespeople you got? What I mean? Cool. These are the, what are you planning for growth, right?
Yeah.
And then identify your pain points. If you're good enough in the planning process, right? Every time you bump your leg on the dining table, you should have wrote that down somewhere. So you can be like, okay, cool. Let me put my dining table somewhere where I ain't going to bump my table, right? Same thing with HubSpot. Is my salespeople putting all the information in, right? So the list goes on. So write down your pain points. And then the second stage, right? And obviously plan a bit more in terms of where your data is at, where it's hanging out, what's going to come in, what stage is going to be using. Like, so this goes on. There's way more, but I'm just trying to keep it super simple for everyone. Next is we then build it out in HubSpot, right? And so just for those people that are doing a full service renovation, you guys can relate to this, is like you want to make sure that your renovation takes as quickest time as possible.
Yep.
So in order to do that, we need to plan ahead. But when the renovation happens, you just overnight,
It's
right?
like, yeah,
if you can do an overnight, you're great, because you don't have to rent a new house. But
well,
if
to
it
be
goes
fair,
on,
Sammy, some of these optimization projects we do a lot of the build in the background, and this part of that, like, so the renovation, where obviously it's not a house, so we do a lot of the redo in the background, and then we have a strategic date
That's
where we're
correct.
like, all right, business, you've all been trained on it. Come tomorrow, no more old way. Now we're turning the new stuff on.
That's correct.
So yeah,
that's correct.
and like we have the leisure. We can go a bit slower. We don't have to build it overnight because it's not someone's kitchen or
That's
bathroom
correct. That's
that they're
correct.
waiting on.
But my point is, at least the key critical areas of your HubSpot portal, like for example, migrating pipelines or moving data across from different areas, you want to do that in bulk and get over and done with, right?
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff, like you said, we can always keep moving on it or working on it, cleaning the data up so it gets better and better, right? And then, following that is, like you mentioned that as well, train your team on how to use it. That's in the build phase. And then we transition to more of a support role.
Yeah.
So this is your new car. This is your new house, right? This is where your button is. If you get stuck, let me know.
Yeah.
This is how you open the door, right? If you don't know how to do it, then let us know.
This is the phase where if I don't hear from my client, most of the time, they've just gone off and been able to do everything on their own. I typically will say to them, keep me in your portal for up to a month after the work's been done. They have my meetings link. I encourage them to book in some scheduled like coaching / consulting calls. And they typically do 1 or 2 and then they're fine. Because we have this, like, we have this analogy here where we're like, if I need to teach myself out of a job, essentially, when it comes to HubSpot. If I can teach you to the point where you don't need me anymore, we've done our job.
Well, yeah. In a grand scheme of things, if someone knows the information that you know, they don't need you no longer, right? So our job is to then teach you how to use the portal that we built for you, right? Then use it. And if new things do come out, if you don't have the bandwidth or the skill set or what it looks like, then we're here to support you.
Yeah.
All right. Now.
Nice. So featured feature. I think we've got time for one. So which one do you want to do? Because there was a second one, wasn't there?
Yeah, we had 2. But I think the one that I want to go over today is going to be the property where the property information,
like
property usage, information. I think that's super. Or figuring out where the property is being used in all parts of your HubSpot. So just to give you a quick background, you guys. So if you have HubSpot, you already know that we use properties in HubSpot, either contact or whatever object they're in, to trigger workflows. They're all in part in like form. They're all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So you may or may not know this feature. So let me just jump into our demo portal and show you what this looks like. If you go into properties in your settings tab, so I'm not going to show you how to get into your properties in your settings option, but once you click into the settings tab, you go into the properties part here. Just click on any property, but before you do that, there's a couple of things I want to show you. So in your where the list of properties are, you can already see there's a used in column. So you can see like where they're all used, what that looks like. So it just gives you an indication of where all these properties are being used. But one more thing is if you click on, for example, there's a create date is a useful one. If I was to click into that property, then it's got the details around that and there's used in breakdown, right? So you can now see that where this property is being used, right? So we've got 305 out of 305 records are being used, right? Just letting you know this is our demo portal, so none of this that kind of makes sense, but you can kind of see that that's where it's being used. And then it's got reports. So how many reports that's being used, workflows, how many workflows it's part of, are they a part of any list? So this property, if you were to delete this property, a whole bunch of assets are going to go.
I don't know if it'll let you delete it.
You won't be able to delete
everything else. Yeah,
but you won't be able to delete. I'm just saying, like, imagine trying to delete this property.
Oh, you just
right?
shit up.
Yeah, you'll need to clean, right, before you delete.
Yeah.
So that will take you forever to do that. So that's why it's like obviously very important to be able to look at the properties before you do the changes. But this is your featured feature for today because Honestly, people don't even know this part exists, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Awesome. So
Little
that's
short one.
looking at your property history. And like you can do that with any property across any object. So contact company deal, go into the back, like where Sammy was at the back end, find the property. I think what people don't realize why it's so powerful is like you might get someone come up to you and be like, oh, what is this? We don't even use it. Can you just get rid of it? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. I got to go check out where it's being used. And then you realize it's actually triggering a bunch of workflows and doing a whole bunch of stuff in the background. So that's where it's really powerful.
Yeah. I want to take 2 minutes to add one real life example, which is lead source.
Yeah.
Right. So this is common. We found across a couple of portals now. When they create lead source, is it a contact lead source? Is it a lead object lead source? Is it a lead source in the deal creation phase? Like, so now they've got like all these different lead sources and across different pipelines. So they fill out one information and one information, another one, and then like it just kind of gets jumbled, right? So honestly speaking, this is probably one of those ones where if you were to delete one because it's got some form of automation or something, you're going to lose all the data, number one. Number two is like, that's why planning is very important to be able to figure it out and make sure that you select the right one at the right data point that you need to collect it. And that's it. That's your data point that you can use.
That's it.
So,
Spot on.
real life example.
Man, we could speak about data in HubSpot for way too long, but we are at time, slightly longer one today. But I think we're going to have episodes in the future where we go even deeper into some of these data things. Nonetheless, that's a wrap for this episode. Unless there's anything else you want to add. Solutions, sticker semi. I love that I remember that.
Just plan your renovation.
Plan.
Plan your renovation.
Inspect and plan. Inspect. That's a wrap for this episode of HubSpot Mentors. Remember, HubSpot is like a high-performance car. It needs regular tuning and the right drivers to make it work for you. If today's insights resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and check out our show notes for resources and tips. And stay tuned. Keep listening. And until next time, keep building smarter, not harder.
Thanks, guys.